Hey everybody, Mature Simmer here. So, welcome to another year on Misty Hills here. Let me go ahead and pop out that fertilizer because we need to get a couple fields limed. So, basically, need to get the fields limed, and then I'm going to try to get them planted. So I need 35 there, 36 there, need some lime. Thing I keep running into in Farmers Only Club, and it's more really because we're not doing precision farming here, that if you don't lime before you plant, you can't. So that is something that keeps kind of biting me. 47,000, so I may need to get some more lime. Good news is we have plenty of funds from going ahead and selling things yesterday. Alright, I did go check the finances because I was like, am I losing money? Because the 01 I think threw me out, but no, I made $466 last night. Or you know, the last segment or this morning, whatever it is. Because the productions, the greenhouses are still running. They have about 8,000, so they're about half full. So let's get our lines set here. So gotta do that, and then that's the issue with lime. It's very thin. Oh, no, it's a little wider. Never mind. So, I thought I had already had it set, but obviously I had pressed the button, but maybe it was, honestly, now that I think about it, I think I pressed the button before I turned the button to press it on, turn it on. So, that probably wouldn't be terribly effective. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be enough, because I think just for 2 fields I would use almost 100,000 liters. So yeah, I think I'm going to need to run off and get some more lime. But we are starting this up here, and this will take us into October. Farming Simulator 25 is coming out on November 12th, so we're now late September, last full week in September, and that will mean that we are less than 2 months away from that release. If you've been following the channel at all, I'm sure you've heard my less than enthusiastic position on kind of having to go to a new version again. Just not sure, the benefit is that substantial. If I want to keep doing Farming Simulator, I know I don't have much of a choice, because everything's going to move to that, so I get the reality of it. But it doesn't mean I need to go forward with it super happy about it. I've got a lot of other things I'm looking forward to a lot more as far as new updates, mainly Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which comes out a week later. So, the real question will be, the thing is, I know FOC is not going to switch to anything meaningful in FS25, and I think, my stance would be the same as it was in FSN, where I did not move to FS22 as soon as they had servers available, because at that point they literally aren't doing much of anything. You're just playing raw Farming Simulator 25 on the servers. So there's not much there. That would include no GPS or whatever, and things like that. I think here you'll be able to use that enhanced helper system. So because FOC doesn't say no, you have to do everything manually like FSN did. But you know, obviously then you're expending funds and stuff to pay the helper. But that's the situation. You know, not a lot to really share. Just going forward for another year, and really the decision at the end of this year is going to be, do I go ahead at that point, given that I'm going to be sitting right around just a month away from FS25 and not knowing what that's going to bring? Do I add complexity here and expand to one more field, which I should be able to handle for production? So I did check before I started recording. I still have, I think, a few thousand liters left of cotton to process into fabric. So it will finish sometime today, probably in the next few hours. And so that kind of gives me the point of starting in September and then ending in May with what I have now. And so that leaves me basically 3 months or so that I could still have production running if I want that spinnery running constantly and, you know, just never stopping type of thing. So I could use more cotton, which obviously then requires more crop, which requires more fields. So if I was going to look at it, you know, it would probably be 38 because it's just over there. They're all next to each other. It's a little easier. You know, and it's a bit of an easier field to work. And those are really the original things I had looked at when I moved over here that I was likely to want, was the ones that I'm getting across the bottom there. So I'm expanding as my original ideas were. And that requires $1.7 million. So obviously, because again, I do some automation to try to help get things done in the time I have and so forth. So usually I've got the weeder going along behind me planting, things like that. And obviously the big one is the harvest, you know, where I think I spend over $100,000 on helpers for the harvest. So you know, we're gonna push into that, but we went from, if you didn't see the end of last year's episode, you know, we went from like 900,000 up to 1.6 million here. So I still feel, you know, we'll be in good shape. We had like 670 some $1,000 is what we got for our crops. So definitely was in great shape. But with that, I will go ahead. I'm going to get these fields limed. I'm going to get these fields planted. And I don't know that I'm not planning on coming back because I think I'm going to be in the middle of a time period where it's just going to be really hard to stay focused, and I'm probably going to have to start and stop Farming Simulator here and there. So I think this is what I'll do for the kickoff for the year, and we just won't come back and cover the planting, which my intent is to do right after I finish this. But yeah, at this point, with the rate I'm going, I'm gonna have to go get some lime. I've got that open, that trailer. I took a peek there just to be sure, and then we'll go from there. I should be able to get those oops, trigger's not there. Well, come on, why not? Oh my goodness, this is so close. The thing, unbelievable. Yeah, I am not a fan of these silos. The trigger is so small to get there. But yeah, what I was gonna say, the green, we can't see it, the green trailer there in the trees, you can see there's some seed inside. So that will allow me this cycle to get through that, because at this point the seed silo has been maxed out and full, and I emptied that into, or loaded that into that after emptying the larger truck trailer, because I had to go, I forget what it was that I was buying, if it was fertilizer or something. I think it was fertilizer. Now I'm going to have to go buy some lime, but I want to keep that open and sometimes I'm overbuying because the silo sizes aren't all the same depending on the product. So it's been a little bit confusing in keeping track of everything. But let me keep on moving, and welcome to another year of Farmers Only Club. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm here harvesting. I'm still going through. This is the first stream I've done for Farming Simulator. I'm dabbling around with Twitch channel because people have asked. And I like the fact that obviously I can just go ahead and stream there, and then it looks like I can go ahead and either send it straight to YouTube if it's more of this one of those sims that I don't do a lot of cutting and editing on, and maybe we'll just deal with not cutting and editing. Or there is a download which I haven't tried yet, but I am going to try with this, which I assume will then let me kind of do the same thing. It's just going to obviously require a little bit of an extra step, and then I'll have to wait for the video to download before I can edit it, where obviously if I'm just recording, I can do that. My biggest issue right now is I am, while I have the throughput, the kilobits per second is at a level that I normally see when things are going well. It's showing up red, and in my stream manager on the other screen on Twitch, it's not even showing me a preview, and it's just telling me I'm live but I'm unstable. So what I didn't want to do is rely on that, and so I am also recording this just the normal way, or at least together with it, which I think will work just fine, to make sure I get the footage, because here on Farmers Only Club I can't suddenly be like, well, let's do a take two. It didn't work, let me fertilize again. Nor honestly do I want to do this again. There's enough work on the farm here to not warrant me doing additional repeats of it. So let's see. Alright, yeah, I think I started a little too early, but that's alright. Just don't want to make, I want to make sure I don't miss it. So not here until August. The big reason is exactly that. I've just kind of been poking around with the Twitch stuff all weekend. I think I've done like 6 streams of various things that I did through Saturday and Sunday. And then here on Monday morning, I'm just going ahead and I've got a few things planned that I'm going to work on, time willing or time able. So I'm going to go ahead and farm, and then I've got a bunch of flight simulator stuff. So I need to get a flight for, I think it's going to be my American, my main American virtual airline done. I don't know where we're going, but I think that's relatively short. But then I have a longer flight for Walker Air Transport, which is another VA, and the one that I'm doing, the NASCAR 2022 series that I've been running on YouTube, where we're basically following the 2022 NASCAR schedule on a tour, and just keeping that kind of publishing just as if we were flying the real NASCAR schedule, kind of in preparation for the goal that, you know, maybe what I'll do next year is, if I can get the schedule submitted, obviously to do that I need to wait until NASCAR actually gives, whoops, hitting the wrong button, shoot, I was hitting Alt Home, trying to move my things over so that my lines are good, and then we'll cycle back around and we'll go. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, you know, kind of how does it make sense to incorporate the Twitch thing? Does it become like literally as I'm doing anything, unless I'm, you know, really unable to continue and stay focused on what's happening, that I don't stream things where I know, hey, I'm in the middle of stuff? But I mean, most of the time, if I'm really that involved, like if there's something work-wise that really needs my undivided attention, I'm not normally simming anything. Now, the difference will be, for example, when I do the Walker leg, I think that's going to end up being over 5 hours with everything that will come together there. And so a lot of times, yes, in the middle of the flight, normally on just doing this stuff for YouTube, I would stop recording, because why create this giant file that I don't need? But, you know, and that's part of what I need to see as well with the download, because that's the thing. If it takes, say, 2 hours to download what probably is going to be a 30 to 45 minute stream here to get these 3 fields done, then a 5-hour flight, you know, I'm normally not going to be that far ahead on things that I would have the time to, say, take all day for it to pull down. You know, and then the reality becomes I might have exactly what could be happening here, which is kind of a conflict where, you know, I've got multiple things that are in essence streaming throughout the house, and it's causing a poor experience here, or maybe completely unusable, because like I said, I don't know what I'm going to get. And so, I mean, given that they're dropped frames, I assume it's not like they're getting queued up somewhere, and that would be kind of crazy if it was doing that. But I just don't know what it does, and so that's why, like, hey, if the farming simulator thing doesn't end up on Twitch, that's fine, but because of that, I don't want it to not end up there, and I'm only relying on the video, and so hence the experiment that I'm doing. But right now, my intent was, as far as I understand this platform, and that's the thing, like, I've watched a few people here and there, like people have been like, ooh, I've got this on Twitch, I've got that. There's been video game publishers or something that are like, hey, we're going live on Twitch for this, and I get that's usually, you know, hey, people are joining, and then you're just kind of sitting and chatting, and, you know, most recently has been with Memoriopolis. They seem to do a weekly item where the customer service or customer engagement lady, the French lady, will come on and she'll chat for a little bit, and, you know, if people are dropping comments in chat, she'll explain, you know, or talk with them for a bit, and then eventually she'll go in and work on some city, which I usually drop off by then. I'm usually not hanging on much longer, so it does just seem to be right up my alley of, you know, just stream of consciousness as I'm doing things. And it's one of those, like, hey, if I can put this, you know, open a stream up, and then if anybody wants to pop in here and there, gives me people to talk to in the middle of doing stuff, where otherwise I'm not necessarily doing that. And again, sometimes, like on the long flights, I'm not even paying attention to the system. It's on autopilot, and it's flying for 4 hours, especially, you know, when I do the long hauls that are 12, 15 hours, sometimes that's just overnight, and I'm not even around. And I'm sure we can do that, but that's like video that I wouldn't necessarily pull down. So that's some of where I think I need to figure out, because I know you can do like clips on Twitch, and that may be, you know, situations, although usually those are just, I'm doing virtual airline tours. Like, I don't put everything I do on the channel, because first off, I'd rather be going ahead and just editing or playing. So now I'm green, see, and like I said, like, I know the 2 things I was doing, I mean, maybe the YouTube uploads have finished, which would have been right on this machine. The other machine that's recording stuff for me to view later is, you know, doing so on a separate computer, so it's not chewing up the same thing. But like I said, the CPU percentage, it's not like the game here is stuttering or anything's going on, but at least at this point I should be having a decent stream. And yes, now it's saying excellent, but it's not really showing me anything. It still says no viewers, so like I said, it's possible this Alexis person put things up. Now, I do have a schedule that showed that I was, like, on Sunday nights I do Tower Simulator. What I'm likely going to put up as my only schedule on Twitch is Saturday mornings. I'll certainly be doing something, because that's the time I know, my wife's working for a little bit, so unless I'm running late on running errands, I'm back here in the morning and using that as sim time. So there'll be something like every Saturday morning, unless I'm ill or obviously otherwise unavailable. But that's really the only thing, because it looks like the Twitch calendars are much more like, hey, here's what the plan is on a weekly basis, so people know when to expect you to be online. The rest of this, the nature of what I would be able to do is just, I'm kind of just dropping in, so it's people would need to be aware that I'm doing it. And I do have a bot that's like on my Discord channel that again is linked here in Twitch. It's also linked, or the link is in the description in all of the YouTube videos as well. There's a live announcement channel now that I've put up that as soon as I fire up a stream, a few seconds later it says, hey, Sure Simmers live over here, and just kind of the stream info. And so I tried to update the stream info before each stream, just so it's relevant. And once again, I don't have a clue how any of that works for really notifying people and so forth. But I figure it can't hurt, even, I know it looked like you should mark everything as a rerun so that people aren't confused, but I would think Twitch is giving some sort of a live notice, but my confusion ends up being like my Steam preview, even though now down below the little bar is saying live and excellent, Farming Simulator, Farmers Only Club work, which is what the stream info was set up as. It's just not showing anything other than my banner. So it's not actually changed to the preview. I mean, the session is counting on top as it was before. But, I don't know. It's an experiment. And so I may go the route of, if I'm doing something and I know I'm not going to be incredibly distracted, I may just throw the stream up. But if I am still distracted, obviously, that might not work real well. Because if someone shows up to take a peek around and I'm not around, there's not much for them to do other than watch whatever's happening on the screen. But I obviously also can't talk 24 hours a day. Well, my bar at the top on my monitor says I have one viewer and it went from 0. So if there's someone there, hello. Welcome, and if you are there, maybe toss something in the chat so I know you're there. I'm not sure there's any other way I can tell for certain, because the other thing, being newer to Twitch, just a couple days in, trying to understand how everything works, sometimes it seemed like the preview counts as a viewer as well. Because I've done a few of those where I thought, oh, it says I have one viewer, and then nobody ever chatted. So, but it just went from 0 to 1. But that could have been because the stream just improved from a lot of dropped frames to not a few minutes ago, and now everything's catching up, and it's just saying that my preview is running, even though it's still showing me the banner. So I don't know. So I'd say a little more than halfway done here, so shouldn't be too much longer. It'll be the end of this session, but if people are looking for anything, yes, I'll be right back online in a few minutes doing some flight sim stuff. Whoops, let's turn this off. Kind of stupid to be throwing fertilizer around when I don't need to be. Yeah, and you know, part of what I'm going to have to learn is kind of the etiquette of what people expect, and I guess it's one of those, like, if people aren't interested, they just drop off your stream and leave. But you know, there's the reality if I'm doing something longer, like sometimes if I had been just recording for YouTube, I'll be doing something you know, different. You know, the thing this would change, and again where I'll probably not do it, is obviously you know, when I'm switching applications, the screen I'm recording on is still kind of the one that pops up, because that's my main screen that I use. And obviously in the stream, like if I do that when I was recording for YouTube, I just edit that out. I'll make notes, or just as I'm quickly running through the video stream to edit, it's like, oop, yeah, I was doing an application, you know, an alt-tab thing there. Let's get rid of that, and whatever I did for 3 minutes, and then now I'm back. So that's kind of potentially what's going to change things, you know. And some of the other stuff I'd done is I had used it to watch some YouTube stuff, you know, watch some other content creators, learn things as I go. So I'm definitely trying to not just stare at the screen and not do anything if it's something like autopilot and flight sim, and I don't need to be. You know where we're at, you know what the reality is. You know, so again, on the YouTube video that's ultimately going to be edited for the year for Farmers Only Club, you know, this will be the part of the feed that I've got here. I'm going to stop the actual recording in my software, just keep the stream going, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a bit. Hey folks, let me take a look here. Ooh, looks like in a couple hours we are gonna have some rain, so I am gonna move along here as quick as I possibly can to get going here. So ended up probably mainly because of the PGA Tour TGC off-season event that I wasn't expecting. I spent a good amount of time doing that yesterday, so didn't get around to starting the harvest here, which I should have been able to do, and was just poking around with just stuff in life this morning, and in here late, kicking myself a bit, where if I had peeked, because I basically had an hour and a half before this that I could have already started these harvesters, and then that likely would have put me in a pretty good spot for having all of this cotton picked up before the rain came in. Now we're going to be, I think we'll be lucky if we get halfway done by 9. Once I get everybody going, I'll look at what's happening as far as how long the rain is going to last, because that obviously is going to be a problem. But biggest thing right now, get some bales out. Obviously this already has 17,000 liters in the harvester, so I'm not anticipating any problem with the bale out of here before the rain. Alright, he's gonna get going. There we go. Let's pop over, grab the other harvester, and let's head over to, I'll do field 36, I guess, just because it's closer. And I'll do the same, go across, and let it just dig on down, because that works better with the little problem we have down at the bottom from long ago. Alright, so this one's going to take a little bit longer. Obviously it's got 5,700. Let me grab my truck, disconnect this here. What was that weird squeaky sound? I don't know that I've heard that before. So try to just leave things on here for till we're basically going to be done, which I assume will take place sometime in the next couple hours, because once it starts raining, there's no point in sitting in here, and you know, I'll move on to something else if I have time. Got to get some truck simulator done. So that's been on the plate a little bit for today, but I am going to go ahead and get my baler ready to go. So you can see we've just got one pallet of fabric. That's all we were able to produce with the items that were done. We talked about earlier kind of when the production was stopping. But, whoops, let me back up and at least have this kind of ready to go by the time, I guess I can get it up there. Might as well do that. Alright, so we'll see where we go from 1.56 million. Now, I've had, you know, the second time I did get stuck with harvesters nose to nose again. It's pretty rare that harvest day comes up on a day. What is this guy doing? He backed up instead of turning, or well, maybe he already did just go over and back. Never mind. Maybe it is 3 rows. I'm like, did he just come back and not? But no, he's cooking along. That's alright. I mean, he really isn't. He's going at the same pace they always go, but it's good to know. Alright, so we'll shut that off. And at this point, well, actually, we'll just hop right back in. Because, yeah, that's going to be ready probably by the time I get the truck up there. He'll be unloading, so that's good. Because if I can get things moving, that'll be good. Obviously, I've lost a month of production, which would be between 20 and 40,000 liters of cotton, I think, that would get taken care of. So obviously just going to push everything out a month, i.e. a day. We'll go from there. Alright, I'm going to try to stay clear just so I don't somehow... Okay, well, he's dumping there. I don't want to get in the way of the harvester turning around because I somehow hit some trigger point where I'm, you know, he suddenly senses me as a vehicle in the way. So we'll stay quite clear, and then we'll go pick that bale up. Obviously, he'll have turned, you know, we'll let him turn around, go do his thing. But 2 harvesters, we chew through a good amount of our funds, but it's honestly the only way I can realistically harvest because I just can't spend the time, because I'm usually doing this at this point. You know, my work day's starting, and I'm going to have this running in the background. Well, not in the background. It's not like I'm doing it on computers that I'm not going to be using the same computer to do work stuff. But, you know, obviously this is my own computer here. But, and just to avoid anything, we'll wait the few seconds till he gets by the bale. And it also, in case I have to do some weird stuff to align, gives me some room to maneuver as well. But if I can get production going, that would be a good thing. I mean, it really, honestly, might have been the simpler thing to come back here with my telehandler and just pick that bale up because of exactly this kind of garbage. I can't say that I haven't been honestly like, maybe one of my things is getting myself to the round balers. Because yes, that is simpler with the arms. It's my own backwardness here. Yeah, the other thing, which doesn't make any of the channels, the other thing I've got in the next couple days is I gotta get my weekly iRacing done so I can get my credits for my 2 series that I run normally, and we'll go from there. But so yeah, just a lot of things that I can be doing, as always. So can always find something to spend some time on. So just been playing around, looking at flight sim stuff. Again, because it's free, I'm just dabbling a little bit in. Never actually taken a look at Digital Combat Simulator, which you can get for free with a couple planes just to test out. So that is all I am doing. It is highly, highly unlikely that I'm going to actually do anything long-term with that, just for no other reason. The cost is insane. I mean, the planes are all like $60 to $80. I mean, it's intriguing concept-wise in the fact that people can create these mission packs and have done so. But that's about it. But so, yeah, yes, last night I kind of downloaded it on Steam, because that's where I always see it. And then one of the things, which actually is a cool idea, I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator did that, is it looks like they kind of have a try before you buy program for any of those items that you would buy. So planes or mission packs, whatever it is, you get to use it for like 2 weeks every 6 months. So in theory, you could like poke around for, you know, something with 2 weeks for 6 months, and then 6 months later do it again for the same thing. So it's not like it just doesn't let you. I mean, obviously that would be super disjointed and whatever, but it's a cool idea, because I probably would look at more things if I had those options in Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. Alright, so we're now going, we've got half a pallet together. Oh, we are out of water, so let's go do that. We've got one greenhouse functioning, because otherwise what that turns into is I will be losing money. And again, because of wage payments, I will be, but at least so far I have not totally fallen off the wagon. I knew it would be close, but I also was planning on being in here in September and thought, oh yeah, I'm good. Clearly I'm not so good. Oh, you know what? I should be able to actually grab my my large tanker. I think I emptied it last planting cycle. I think I finally have all the liquid fert out of it, and so I can go ahead and... Oh, we've got someone else coming in. We'll know, obviously, when we connect, but I'm not going to waste time jumping out and looking, because I kind of did that when I was doing the harvest work. I might not be quite at the right angle. Nope. Little too... I don't normally come in that way, but the way this got bumped and turned, because it's got such a strange trigger point, it spun in a certain direction, and obviously I can't come in... Oh, come on, really? I mean, it did indicate that it was doing something at one point. Alright, well, I guess we are going to fit in here. So, it was like, I can't easily get in there, but we did, and yes, it's 0%. So, I can go ahead and I'll just do that. I'll limit myself to 45,000 liters, but that will then just let me fill everything with one tank. So, that'll be great. And then we can move that other tanker, which I guess I'll do now, because, yeah, the way I have it parked, I really can't do much. Now, this would seriously likely now be one of those, because now I have a pretty good idea of what I need. I was gonna just back up and shove it on the hill, but just gonna be faster to go around and plop it down. It's just like this other tanker that I really don't need. I could probably sell both of these, because I don't know that I need them now. I'm assuming the eye overloading was letting me fill one tanker from another, which I suppose might have a reason, but I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to. Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to end up having a little bit left in here, but obviously the greenhouses are going to churn away, and I don't have an immediate need here. So if I go in here, again, we'll do 45. Is it 50? Now I'm confused. Is it 15,000? No, it's 20,000. So, okay. So I need to go 60,000 actually. I'm thinking 15,000 in the tank, and then I was just multiplying by 3, and getting 45. But no, so I need 60, and then I'll be able to fill all the greenhouses. But this is probably going to take a little bit to fill. Is it? Okay. I'm like, am I far enough along? I am not. Alright, so while that does that, now I guess we'll take a look here. Where's he at? Alright, 14,000. So yeah, once I can get a couple bales in for sure, like 40,000 will be no problem. I think 20,000 is honestly no problem either. I sit there and get a little worried that, alright, so it looks like Hawkins popped in and left, so maybe he was just checking something. Determined, yeah, I don't, and he could have been just like me. He was coming into harvest, and then he's like, no. Alright, so it's raining a couple hours, and then we have some clearance. So that's good that we don't have suddenly an all-day washout after that. But yeah, in about 30 minutes, I definitely have, you know, time where I just can't do anything. So, as far as pay direct attention, so I will definitely, you know, the stream will be running, showing what's happening, but if people just want to calmly watch the harvester do its thing. But again, for those who may be new, Farming Simulator, whatever, you know, if you've not seen that from an automation standpoint, like this is one of the few things you can harvest and just not pay attention to it at all, which is partially why I do cotton, because these harvesters will just go, they'll drop the bale like you saw, and they'll just keep going. So if you do have kind of difficult to forecast times when you can do things, it's just easy to get these going, and it's not like, ooh, the harvester's run, cut some wheat, and now it's waiting for you to bring a truck over to unload it or something like that, and then you're, you know, unavailable for 2 hours because you're on calls or something, and your equipment's just sitting around. So in this case, that won't happen. You know, and it's possible, even though it says 9, like, it doesn't always obviously start right at 9 o'clock. It could be 9, you know, sometime between 9 and 9:30. Like, we might still have another 2 hours from this point. So, but we'll see. You know, and similarly, it might not rain all the way till 11. But it's just a matter of, will I be able to pay attention? And I probably can see it then. But it's unlikely I'm going to stay in. What I'll probably end up doing is, if I'm able to do anything when it starts raining, I'll stop, I'll leave, and then I'll, you know, check back probably after 11 o'clock and just make sure it's done raining and then continue at that point. But I'm certainly not just going to tie up not being able to do anything otherwise. So that gets you up to speed kind of with everything we had to do. So we've well, I guess I can get the water done before I drop from the standpoint of, okay, so we're half full. Because again, some of this, even though this is being streamed live on Twitch, as I'm doing it, the recording, part of this will be used as a recording for the YouTube summary that I always have put up in the past. So I'm just trying to get that. So that's what I mean, that I'll leave that alone. You know, I may still hang out, look around. Obviously, if someone pops in, I do see I lost one follower. Very sad. Although it says unknown user. So I'm confused if they unfollow you. Is that what happens? Like in my activity feed, it's showing unknown user followed you. So basically the first follower I had, I'm assuming, has unfollowed me, but the fact that it says unknown user to me would indicate like they left Twitch, like they deleted their account from Twitch entirely. But I don't know. But it could just be because they're not following you anymore. They don't give you a name so that you can't, like, I don't know, go harass, like, why'd you leave? Come back. But, alright. So, we're going to drop our first bale from this one shortly. But it looks like, what, we've been streaming for a little over 20 minutes. So that's what we've gotten done, and obviously, you know, it took a few minutes to get to the field and all that, so this isn't showing us what 20 minutes of harvest looks like, but, you know, approximately. Alright, so 10,000 more here, and then we'll fill our 3 greenhouses, and then we shall be good. But basically, going back to the funds, oh, it's actually doing it more often. Usually I was going to say the wage payments hit at the top of the hour, but I guess it does it more frequently, which is fine. And maybe it's every half hour. It's possible it did the rest at 7:30 or something. But, although no, it probably does it more frequently because, again, I've only been streaming for 22 minutes, it says, so I haven't even been, I wasn't on at 7 a.m. in the server. Alright, so let's go one at a time. There we go. So yeah, way easier this way. That was kind of the intent, but that becomes the issue, you know, unless I was keeping something in the tank, which doesn't make sense to do. I mean, obviously I'm going to have a little bit here, but I'm going to have 316 liters is all I'll have left. Obviously, I'm sure by the end of harvest, I could empty that. It's interesting that it went to 314 then, so it's almost like it gave 2,002 liters into the abyss there, or the tank. So dramatic, the abyss. Alright. And again, well, I'll move it away because this is pretty big, and again, I don't want the harvester, if I'm not paying attention, to just stop and get stuck. But I do want to dump that remaining water off at some point. But it basically means these 2 tanks next to me are kind of no longer needed on my farm, so I could sell them, avoid having some equipment, Just like, once again, I haven't used the other planter, I haven't used the baler. You know, I don't necessarily want to get rid of those necessarily. I mean, they're sitting out of the way. It's perfectly fine. Alright, probably put myself in this harvester simply because if it's going to stop and have an issue, it's likely going to be this one. So I'm going to go ahead, say we're done from what I'd use for YouTube, so I'll see you guys in a bit. I am back here in April. So early in the day, I've got to get field 37 limed. Gonna go ahead and I've got about 16,000 liters down here, but I'm gonna go get this start filling, because at least then while I'm working on the field, this can be filling up there, because I don't need to be in the truck for it to fill. So just make sure we are all set here. Yep. So 100,000 is what we should be able to pull. So obviously we're gonna lose a bit, but I think it won't be an incredibly high amount of money, because lime's not that expensive, but we also go through quite a bit of it. Started with 36,000, we're coming up on you know, likely halfway full. Whoop, let's not crash or whatever. But I'll be back in tonight to make the sale for sure. I had 50,000 cotton still left to go. Picked up 60,000 liters, 3 more bales were left. So everything is now in the spinnery. So literally everything I can do is happening. But as I said, this is the biggest piece that I need to complete here. Whoop. Sorry, I was looking at my headset connection just to make sure everything was working. But yeah, did think like, ooh, I haven't looked at this in a while. So figured, let me go take a peek, and luckily I did look, and so it's running about 3 rows on this field per 10,000. It's not quite finishing the 3rd, but at this point I'm just trying to get this painted up, and so you'll see where this ends up. I'm not sure if I'm yet going over the center of the field. I don't think I am. But this will be our position here. We'll get that going. And yeah, we might be right at the center, so I probably have another 20 or 30,000 liters that I need. But definitely been a bit of consumption. And you can see obviously the numbers are ticking up. So we'll be able to tell when it's full, when it's done, when that stops, and we'll see if that's before the field is done or not. So if somehow you had gotten over to Twitch in between and been like, oh, he's doing some stuff over there, most everything was happening over there. Alright, looks like we just finished the lime, so 20,000 for that. The reason I'm no longer doing that is I've determined I don't know that it's really worth it. Not quite sure what it would even get you eventually. I mean, I'm assuming there's some sort of monetization there, but the best I can tell is it's more like people watch your stream and send you money that way or something, which is not really kind of how my process is built. You know, I'm certainly not opposed to, hey, make a little bit for what is happening there. So, you know, obviously I'm not going to be disingenuous and say YouTube isn't doing things from ad revenue, but it's really not based on people coming on and being on at the same time, and I think you just end up creating a situation where you're more playing to the audience than you're actually honoring or playing to the sim, which is a lot more of what I'm interested in, frankly, is just sharing, hey, here's what I'm doing, and if people want to take some time and watch that, you know, they have the opportunity to do that on YouTube, and but I'm not doing goofy things or acting in ways that I wouldn't normally act to try to get views and get live audience to stick around or something. So just not seeing that it even is worth the attempt to try to figure it out, because I just don't think it's anything that would be of interest to me. So, you know, maybe if I'm incredible at something, because certainly I saw there were a bunch of people on iRacing, so I'm doing some things on Twitch that really aren't on the channel. So if I'm doing mini airways or things like that, I'll fire up a stream if I have the opportunity. But I think I'm gonna wait at this point and get the truck over here, because the reality ends up being otherwise. I'm gonna only fill 6,000. That's not gonna get the field done. So. So I was thinking, you know, I probably could do a little bit more, but I just don't know that it's honestly worth it, because I just don't know. Like, I've still got to go get lime and all that periodically. So if I have to go, you know, make an extra trip once every 10 years or something, I don't know. Because I don't know. I guess if I did everything, I'd be using more than 100,000 liters anyway. Because if I'm going to use 40 or 50,000 just on this one field, I'm pretty sure the others are more than that. I'm thinking I've refilled, and I think I might have actually went and got 110,000, and then realized I think the lime only takes 100, where I do think the fertilizer and the seeds and stuff will do more. But man, I'm going to end up crashing or creating a problem. I am just struggling to keep this on the road. But I'm going to go ahead and obviously keep getting this done. Just wanted to give you something else to watch that's a little bit different than normally happens in FOC. But we are now just back to liming the field, but I'll be back tonight to finish up the year, and then obviously we'll get that out to folks as soon as I can get things edited together. But yeah, the Twitch journey, short-lived, but right now not seeing real value for that for really anybody. I don't know that viewers are clamoring for it, and I don't know that I have a whole lot of interest in making things more challenging for myself for no real positive benefit or value add. So I will see you in a bit. I am here to end the year. Let's see where we can sell our fabric and get this thing done. Get rid of the straps, because obviously we don't want that. I think we had like 100,000 in the spinnery. So that probably means we've got about 10 to get up here. If I could get the, if I could pick up double all the time, which I seem to suck at, honestly, would be alright. So, let me get the trailer loaded. I don't really have anything specific to talk about related to this, so let me just do that, and then we'll be back when we are ready here. Alright, so probably the fastest loading time ever. Some of it was I just didn't dork around a ton. Let's see, just 180,000. So we still have just under 100,000 in cotton. We're actually going to get something else here in a little bit, another pallet. You know, we probably have 2 or 3 pallets to go. Really don't necessarily want to come back in, but prices are rising, and it's not 2,600, which it has been before. So maybe we just take what we got and we go with it, because again, you know what'll happen. I mean, because at most I'm going to wait an hour, hour and a half. I don't know that the price is going to change that much in that time. And then, you know what'll happen is I'll do that and it'll go down or something. Be just my luck. So, I know we've had the discussion of, hey, you know, am I going to get another field? I think at this point I'm going to wait. We're so close. We're barely over a month away. We might actually not be a month, because, yeah, no, it was November 12th, I think, from when FS25 will come out, and I'll have to make that decision. As you can see, I didn't actually get that far. I mean, it's like 1.7 something, but it might be closer to 1.8, and then I'm going to have like $100,000, and yeah, just don't think it's worth it. And then if I wait another time period, then we just have the situation of, you know, now I'm 12 days further down the road, and that puts me in like October. Trying to figure out what that would be. We'll drop that off so that we're ready to go. But that would put me end of October, last 3 quarters of October, and another 12 days or so. Then we're really close. Got some other stuff coming out. There's probably always something else that's going to catch my attention. So, yeah. So I think we're going to just not push the envelope and just start to see what's going to start to happen as we get closer. You know, there's always the possibility I decide toward the end of October, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. Because, I mean, the reality is, the likelihood of me moving to an FS25 server right away is probably pretty low. But once again, the way this community works, maybe I'll think differently. I don't know, because it's like, if I'm doing FS25 anyway, but I don't know. I'll have to look at the options, see what makes sense, and go from there. But with all that, we're going to wrap ourselves up, and as always, if you've liked this and are not a subscriber, please consider both those things. Greatly appreciated, and I will see you next time.